Power is officially back. The week-long break is done, we've taken a couple of days off, but it's back to business for 3 big episodes. They've laid the foundation in terms of storylines and plots. There's the famous question, Marvin's Italian problem, rock versus unique, snaps and pop. How do they position themselves? There's also Jukebox on Demon Time, and they've been kind of poking her over the last couple of episodes. You can definitely sense a turn is coming. There are a lot of moving chess pieces, and I expect things to pick up speed. We also know that in the world of Power, episode 8 is usually a big one. Considering we've just come off a break, I expect nothing less. Maybe a death or two, a big reveal, a twist. All those possibilities are on the table. So, without further ado, let's dive into these exclusive images and run through a quick preview for Season 4, Episode 8, starting with the title and synopsis. The title is Street Struck, and the synopsis reads, Rock goes on the offensive while Marvin and Lou try to control the chaos. Jukebox joins Kanan on the hunt for OC. Meanwhile, Kanan digs deeper into what really happened with his best friend. Let's begin with the conversation between Kanan and Duke. We know what Kanan saw at the end of the last episode, and he's going to tell Duke he believes it's Rock. I know Kanan will mention the DW situation from Season 1, but I still feel it isn't enough to convince me or Duke. Over the past few weeks, we've ruled out several suspects: Marvin, Lou, Detective Howard, Ronnie, Unique, Kanan, and also Duke. That leaves Rock, Snaps and Pop, and Detective Garcia, or maybe a completely new character. I personally don't believe it's Rock, and I hope Duke and Kanan realise that before doing something reckless. Jukebox may think more deeply. Just as the synopsis hints, she might tell Kanan to look into his theory further. I've said it before, Kanan saw Rock paying those officers, but he saw the same thing with Snaps and Pop. There's also a rooftop scene with them, and 2 officers we haven't seen yet. In my eyes, they're still suspects. I'm personally ruling out Rock, though we can't be 100% sure based on her past. So you can't blame Kanan for thinking Rock might have had a hand in it. Still, I'm sure more pieces will come together. We've gone through every character in terms of motive and timeline. The only ones left are Rock, Snaps, Pop and Garcia, who falls under law enforcement. Now, moving away from that conversation, let's talk about OC. Jukebox is going to join the hunt for him, and I think they'll eventually find him, dead or alive. There's a scene that might include OC's brother or relative, and we might even meet OC's mother. As for Duke, I think someone is about to find out why you don't mess with her. Kanan is also in the same house or apartment, though we don't know if it's at the same time or a different moment in the episode. Some people in the comments claimed it's Breezy's apartment, but it definitely isn't. I checked multiple times. I believe it's OC's parents' house, where his mum and possibly uncle live. Now, on to Duke and Rock. We don't know whether this scene happens before or after Duke's conversation with Kanan, but they're packing up Joyce's clothes. I don't think we'll see a funeral. I think we're getting a small time jump. Still, I'm looking forward to their conversation about Joyce's death and possibly about fame. Speaking of law enforcement, we've got Garcia with Duke. He's hunting for answers about what happened to Fame. Even though I think he's a suspect himself, he's probably here asking Duke about Fame, Detective Howard, and what went down in episode 10. He won't get much out of her. But I've raised the possibility that Jukebox might feed him false information. She's done it before, something to keep an eye on. Garcia also comes face-to-face with Unique at his tailor shop, marking the first time law enforcement confronts him since his return. They thought he was dead, but word on the street says he's back. Garcia may be trying to ruffle feathers or play him against Rock, similar to tactics we've seen before from other detectives. Captain Baptist did say he wants the case closed the right way, so this will be an interesting conversation. As for Unique's street operation, he's seen in a meeting with Phil Russo, and he doesn't look pleased. Maybe Rock hit back. Maybe the Thomases finally made their move. They have to. If they sit back, they'll lose everything. So I think Rock and Marvin may have made their move. The question is how, and what's the short-term and long-term impact for Unique? Expect a lot of back and forth between now and the finale. Like older Kanan said earlier in Season 4, are you really winning, or are the real winners the mafia bosses pulling strings? Speaking of that, Stefano meets with Marvin, and Marvin has a big problem. The issue with early Tyler is serious. He got rid of one of Stefano's men, and Stefano won't forget. Back in an earlier episode, he warned Marvin that if anything went wrong, he'd hold him responsible. He'll want answers and revenge. Marvin just keeps covering one lie with another. I fear he's digging a hole he won't get out of. I also questioned why he didn't tell Rock the full truth when he had the chance. Maybe he thought he could fix it himself, but I don't think he can. The situation is a ticking time bomb. Now on to Rock's conversation with Crystal. Kanan spoke to her at the end of the last episode. Maybe she's here to tell Rock what Kanan is up to, not to go behind his back, but because she's worried. Crystal cares about Kanan, and I think Rock will appreciate that. Still, I stand by my earlier statement. For Kanan to truly transform into the monster we saw in Power, he needs to lose Crystal. Jukebox has already flipped that switch. Kanan still has a level to reach. As for Snaps Pop and their pitbull, I wonder what their next move is. They were approached by Rock and Unique, but their business also includes Kanan. With someone like Kanan, they can mentor or manipulate him, something they can't do with Unique or Rock. They see Kanan as a potential moneymaker. They're still suspects in my book, and there's that rooftop scene with law enforcement we haven't seen yet. What lengths will they go to for control over Kanan? That's the real question. How do they plan to handle Unique and the war around them? Last but not least, we have Lou getting back into the game. I mentioned this before, you could sense it coming. Last week, I posted a breakdown discussing what might push him over the edge. Maybe Billa, maybe finding out what happened to Fame, or maybe discovering a Mania coup is a confidential informant. All those are still in play. That's the full preview of Episode 8, based on the exclusive images. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a big episode, possibly featuring a death, a twist, or a big reveal. It'll set things up nicely for Episodes 9 and 10. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments. I'll see you in the breakdown for Episode 8. As always, thank you for watching and see you next time.